What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video. Where in this one, I want to talk a little bit about the trade deadline. Comes up 4 o'clock today, so this video has a very limited window. I understand that, but want to go through some things, of course, mainly about Trey Hendrickson and what the Colts might do. Now, there's been moves. There was even an article came out a few days ago that was essentially, one of those articles that comes out where somebody within the team is just trying to let people know, like, dude, we are trying, right? And a lot of insiders and a lot of people that report on the Colts have said the same thing about, the Colts are trying to do it, right? I've seen plenty of reports about the Colts trying to get a deal done. Destin Adams, who has a lot of people that have watched this channel for a long time, maybe you're new to the channel, Destin Adams is somebody that since the very beginning of this channel, like right after I got put on this channel, the Jonathan Taylor drama started. Like that drama is really what started this channel, essentially. And Destin Adams was a guy that I turned to for information a lot. And a lot of what he said through it all, through all the ups and downs of that thing, when it looked like, he's requesting a trade, he's not going to be here, Destin Adams' information was good, right? By the end of it, what Destin Adams said through the whole thing ended up being good information. So he's one person that I look at where he does have Colts fandom, but he does a good job of separating his fandom and doing his job. And so I respect that a lot. I use him for information, just seeing what he's saying and kind of extrapolating kind of what he's saying and how things are going to be moving along. What he said was that he was essentially done sharing specific trade tidbits, but said that the Colts have been active making calls on defensive players for a while, and essentially said they want to get a deal done, which is what a lot of people have said. Colts are trying to get a deal done, whether it's for a cornerback or whether it's for an edge, maybe even a linebacker, Logan Wilson. Right, another one of those Bengals players. And as we're seeing from the Bengals, Lou Anarumo wasn't the problem. That defense wasn't great last year. It's even worse this year without Lou Anarumo. And I've seen a lot of Bengals fans over the last couple of weeks, especially talking about, like, okay, now we understand why Lou was doing the things he was doing, because in playing who he was playing, because he just didn't have the players. Right, they're coming to the understanding. And Lou, coming off of one of his better games, right, one of his better play calling games, even though obviously we end up giving up 27 points to the Steelers, not all on the defense. Defense put in a lot of bad situations, right, 6 turnovers, but we only give up 27 points. I thought a lot of different guys played well. Obviously, Latu, 2.5 sacks. Jalen Jones had an incredible game, and we're going to talk about that in a later video. Might be tomorrow, because I think I have a couple other videos I want to do today. But nonetheless, sitting here talking about the trade deadline, we know Jalen Phillips is now with the Eagles. There's an edge rusher, Dermont Jones, I believe is his name. Draymond Jones, I think it's Dermont, whatever the case. Titans traded an edge rusher to the Ravens. And so where do the Colts fall in this whole thing? Well, the Bengals, Jay Glazer, before the 1 o'clock games on Sunday, Jay Glazer was on Fox basically talking about, hey, the Bengals are fine with taking calls. They've changed their stance on Trey Hendrickson. They're willing to trade him and try to get something back for him. I think they see the writing on the wall. Even though they can put up 38 points a game, they're going to be giving up 40-plus a game, and they're not going to be winning many games. And they're going to try to get something back for Trey Hendrickson. And now Diana Rossini reported they're asking for a first-round pick. That's delusional. A guy that at this point, right, 8 regular season games that you're going to get out of him. So, like, his entire salary cap isn't going to be on the salary cap. The Colts would still need to maneuver some things to open up a little bit of salary if they wanted to take on Trey Hendrickson, but his salary cap isn't going to be as massive as it would have before the season when we were talking about picking him up, or even a couple weeks ago when we were talking about trading for him. So going and getting him a first round, nobody's going to give him a first round pick for a guy who could easily just end up being a free agent at the end of the year. You're not giving up a first round pick for somebody like that. And so the Bengals are clearly just trying to float out there, hey, we want a first-round pick. They want to get as much as they can get. Thing is, they don't really have leverage. So as we go into it, right, either they are very unserious about this and they're not actually taking trade calls and they're only going to take something that's ridiculous. But assuming that they are fine with moving on from a player that they're not going to have, almost certainly not going to have after this year. So instead of letting him go in free agency, just try to get something back for him, right? So Jalen Phillips goes for a third-round pick. I am fine, even if we don't have him after this season. I am fine if we give up a third-round pick for Trey Hendrickson for this year, for the run we can make this year, for the defense that we have right now, and the offense that we have right now. You bring in Trey Hendrickson with Latu. Essentially, over the last couple of weeks, Latu's been really close. He finally got there a couple times, 2.5 sacks. He's starting to put it together, right? Young guy, just like Alec Pierce, right? In his second season, a lot of people writing him off. As that second season went on, he started to put it together. And then third season, he really started to go. So I think for Latu, he's starting to pick it up. He's starting to go, which is great, right? All the experience, which is why he should have played more last year, get him more experience last year. His development is behind because Gus Bradley wouldn't play him when he was clearly somebody, 15th overall pick, should have been playing more. Right, so Latu's picking up. You put Trey Hendrickson on the defensive line. JTT's been getting more experience, and has been up and down as you would expect for a rookie edge rusher, but getting more experience. So I think with the way things are, a third-round pick for Trey Hendrickson would be just fine, right? I think that would be a great solution. Now, in that trade, would you go ahead and give them Kwity Paye still? You know, I feel like that's probably unlikely. Something we've talked about a lot, but I feel like probably unlikely. But going and getting Trey Hendrickson would be great. Obviously, the top option with what he's going to cost at this point in the season, we could make it work pretty easily, in my opinion, with some restructures. Right, essentially giving money to, the way I understand it, giving money to guys more up front, push a little down the road, and be able to make it work. And we wouldn't have to do a lot. We have, I think, a little over $5 million in cap space, if I'm not mistaken. And so you wouldn't have to do a whole lot in terms of bringing him in. But that's obviously top option. Kayvon Thibodeau, has been a whole lot of talk about that. There was some mention of it throughout the week last week, but doesn't seem like the Giants are really trying to come off him. Bradley Chubb is not somebody I would want. Maybe Will McDonald or Jermaine Johnson is somebody that's also been mentioned. A couple guys from the Jets. So that'd be great. All right, going and getting one of those guys would be phenomenal. And I'm not even going to go into cornerback because there's a video that I know I'm doing here in a little while where we're talking about cornerback. Somebody we've talked about finally got the news I was waiting for. I finally saw the news that we've been waiting for on a player that we've talked so much about bringing into this cornerback room. Now, it'll be interesting to see what the Colts do with Jalen Jones performing the way he did, right? Shutting DK Metcalf down. If he's able to shut Drake London down when we're in Germany, good chance Ward comes back. You have him as the 1, Jalen Jones as a 2, which probably should have been the case all along. I don't know why there was so much talk about him not being a starter. I don't know why he wasn't in that conversation coming into the year. But if he shuts down Drake London for the most part, I think there's definitely conversation. After the bye, he's probably cornerback too. But I would, and we still have Mike Hilton on IR. So I am interested to see what the Colts do. I don't think going for a corner is going to be the move. I think going for an edge rusher to get more consistent pressure on the quarterback. You upgrade the room, right? Samson's been out a couple weeks. Tyquan's been out a couple weeks. And you would have to figure out how you're going to maneuver the room. JTT, honestly, would probably be a guy that would be inactive from week to week again. And but I'd be fine with that if you bring Trey Hendrickson in. And then you have Kwity Paye, and Sampson when he comes back, and Tyquan, those guys are your rotational pieces. But Latu and Hendrickson on the same defensive line as Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner, and that would be great. So trade deadline quickly approaching. It's going to be interesting to see, do the Colts make a move today? I was supposed to have the day off today. Chance for me to get some overtime hours this week, so went ahead, picked up a shift, and going to be working today, but I will be home, should be home right before the trade deadline ends, and hopefully the Colts have made a move, and hopefully one that makes sense, and hopefully one that doesn't, screw our future over too much. But hopefully the Colts, who have been active trying to make calls, hopefully something's able to happen. It takes two to tango. Chris Ballard's trying, and hopefully they're able to make something happen. Of course, if that happens, as soon as I get home, I'm going to be on it. I'm going to be on it, trying to get you guys information. If something happens while I'm at work, getting home as soon as I possibly can so that I can get you guys a video so that we can talk about it here on this channel. And we'll see what happens. Again, trade deadline is at 4 o'clock today. You let me know of all the moves that could potentially be out there on the defense. What would you like to see the Colts be able to get done today? How would you like to see it be done? You guys let me know down in the comment section. And again, we're going to have multiple videos today, plenty of content today. So go ahead. Make sure, as always, you guys are hitting that like button so that I know you guys are enjoying the content and supporting the channel. And, of course, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you get notified anytime we drop any content on this channel. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And, as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.